In blue as a blameless sky.
That's brother Elsey from their self-titled debut album. They are indeed three brothers, originally from Michigan, along with their friend Dalton, who plays drums. I was able to round up all three siblings, Brady, Beau, and Jack, who are all now based in Nashville, and we had a good long chat about why this first album took such a good long time to finally see the light of day.
Though I'm seeing red, it's all in my head now.
I'm interested in the interaction and what kind of roles, being brothers, it's got to be more complicated than just being in a band together. And
Sure.
two of you are twins, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yes.
It's got to be even more complicated. So
Yeah.
whoever wants to take the reins here, and I'm sure you have the hierarchy among yourselves, tell me how it all works.
We do actually.
Go ahead, Brady.
Right, that'll say it all, I guess. I tend to be we being in a band with your brothers is like it's like I always say it's almost like you're married to the person that you're in a band with. It's different than just like friends because we're each other's best friends first, obviously brothers before that, but the band is um it's like it's almost a part of our identity as well. But it makes it easier for us to be in a band since we're brothers because we're not scared to like say what's on our mind. We speak our minds a little bit easier, and it's easier for us to be honest with each other and make decisions together and stuff because we know each other very well, obviously at this point. So yeah, I wouldn't say there's really a hierarchy, but when it comes to like certain things like creatively and stuff like that, writing some songs, like I definitely write most of everything, but it's very collaborative
Right.
on every other front.
So
So,
how did it emerge that you became the writer?
well, we went to school. We went to school for music, and Jack writes music as well. And when I say I write most of the songs, it's more so just starting them, and then it's a collaborative effort after it's been started, and the guys are like able to really like, edit with me and make the songs closer to in the vein of what we have envisioned for ourselves. Um, but there came a point where we really wanted to go a certain direction with music, and I was writing more in that style than anyone else was in the band. So we kind of just took that and ran with it at a certain point in college, I would say.
Right. And
Yeah.
did you have a musical growing up? Were your parents musical? Well, yeah, because you got the
Yeah,
because you're named after your great grandfather or grandfather. Is that
Yes.
one of
Great
those?
grandfather.
yeah. We
Yeah.
had music on kind of all sides of our family. Our grandfather was in a country band growing up, and we used to watch him rehearse in the basement all the time, and we'd go to all his gigs. So that was really inspiring. And then my grandma on my dad's side was like big choir person, so we were really engulfed in like church music, also like musicals and just the technical side of music for sure. That was a big part for us too. So that it was kind of came from both sides there for sure.
And Bo, do you remember like your the first record you bought or first thing you heard on the radio that connected with you?
Oh man. I think honestly, again, it's a collective thing. We all got into in high school, we really got into Mumford and Sons. And
Okay.
that was like the first time that we like realized that we could do this as like, you know, with the harmonies, like more of the folk style and like it kind of solidified what we want to like strive for. So
Hmm.
Right. Right. All right.
yeah.
So, uh, I was going to ask you what the vibe was when you were recording, but it kind of, I got the feeling that it was pretty mellow. There's one track on here. There's a little, uh, like studio chatter before it on Virginia, and
Yeah.
it just sounds very chilled. So, is that
Hmm.
representative of how things went down in the studio, or was it a little more tension than that?
Are we rolling? Cool. You're rolling like a stone. Can't you see that I can't join your show? Just remember me the same way I remember you. You were 22, I was dancing on your toes.
I think we definitely were we've definitely captured some mellow moments, but a lot of it was as
Not that mellow.
brothers, yeah, we have no bars held sort of like mentality with each other sometimes, and it's not like we're gonna hold back um in how we feel. So when it comes to being in the studio, being creative, we're definitely vocal with each other and bicker a lot. So, but for the most part, when it came to like things that were easy, it was very chill. But there's inevitable friction when it comes to putting things like that together, and I don't think that was something we wanted to get on record, you know.
Yeah.
But maybe one day.
Have you ever heard that
Yeah.
the outtakes that you remember the band of Trogs? They
The
did
I don't
Wild
know
Trogs.
if.
Thing. They
Oh
they
yeah,
from
yeah,
the
right.
'60s.
Okay.
There is an
Yeah.
entire like outtake of them just arguing in the studio for
Nice.
like an hour. It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We need that for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe
I'm
we'll
sh
get one next time.
I'm sure it's somewhere secretly we don't know
Yeah.
about.
And
Yeah.
of course, the fourth member is Dalton Thomas, your drummer, who you guys met, I
Yes.
think, in university or college or whatever. We call it university here in New Zealand because
Right.
college is high school. It's very confusing. So, so tell me about him. Since he's not here, we can talk about him.
Yeah, Dalton. We were at college and we were looking for a drummer at the time, and there was orientation, and there was this guy who looked identical to us, and I mean, beard, boots, all the cool things back then, and we were just like, we really pray, fingers crossed this guy plays drums,
Right,
and I'm the outgoing one of the bunch, so I went over there and introduced myself to him, and really became best friends, hung out all that day, and then just started making music together. So he's been a part of the creation process for about that long. It's been pretty great.
right.
Mhm.
So when you met him, how did you present your musical aspirations to him and what you guys do?
Yeah, I think
It
it
was kind
was.
of it was
Go on,
easy
Brady.
because there was a lot of showcases involved with the school that we went to. So we had already had the band formed by the time we started there,
Right.
and so he had an idea of how we performed because we had played like in front of him before we even became friends.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
And so his style of music just lined up perfectly with ours.
And even
Learning
like
that.
to that day, sorry to interrupt, but like we
Yeah.
we listened to all the same music. So we just went
Right.
back and forth like on YouTube at the time. We are just like, this is check out this music video. He's like, yeah, that song's sick. Check out this one. We're like, yeah, that song's awesome too. So that like definitely helped,
Right.
solidify that we had the same ideas.
Yep. Yep.
Exactly.
So listening to you talk, it sounds like a long trip for you guys to get to this point where you finally have your debut album out. Does it feel like a
Right.
long time for you guys?
100%. I mean,
Yeah,
we've been playing together since we were very small. Like
Right.
the first time we wrote a song together, I think me and Beau were in like third or fourth grade, and Zach was in fifth grade. We wrote a song with our dad, and then we always kind of like played band since then.
Right.
But obviously, since college, it's been a long time coming with getting all the hitting all the marks and getting everything sort of put together in aims of success, I guess. So it definitely feels like a lifetime, but it
Yep.
also feels like things have been moving pretty quickly in other ways too. So it's kind of like a both for us. Yeah.
it's like it feels like it's been our entire lives, but we have to remember that we're just getting started.
Yeah, always.
We have to remember that we've
Exactly.
just started, actually. So
Yeah.
So when did this album actually start to take place and come to become a thing for you guys?
Um, This album started long before we even moved to Nashville.
Oh, really?
There's a lot of songs. Yeah, there's a lot of songs. It was definitely a culmination of a lot of songs that we wrote as like in the in between in a way. There was a record that came out in 2021. It was actually not a record, it was an EP.
Right.
That were like it was kind of we wrote for the EP in studio. And a lot of the songs that we have for this record were songs that were written before and after that is in sort of like that little in between time. It's been 4 years since we released any project. So, um, yeah, a lot of the songs were songs that we wrote just post college, living in Grand Rapids, just kind of trying to figure out how to live and how to make friends and, you know, fall in love and all that stuff. So it's definitely a combination of like what we like to say is like our early 20s kind of coming to a close, our 20s coming to a close. It's kind of this whole decade of life kind of wrapped into one, you know.
Yeah, because that's interesting. For a lot of songwriters and musicians, the 20s is their fertile period where they do all the
Right.
stuff that everybody remembers, and then they kind of
Yep.
drift off into adulthood after that.
Exactly. I
It's
think
good to
we've
leave
got
it behind.
yeah. I think we have a few more of those years left in us before we can really put a bow on our youth.
I
But
hope so. It is your first album.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So you recorded it at a place like a home studio. What was that all about?
So yeah, we recorded at Ivy Hall, which is a studio that is in a house. I wouldn't call it a home studio because it really is like it's a full studio. You get everything, your live
Right.
room, control room, and the entire house actually is patched in with a control room. So every floor and every room has inputs, so you can
Right.
get everything connected to whatever room you want to record in, which is very such a cool thing. So we did about 30% of our time we worked out of Ivy Hall, and then the other 60 we worked out of our producer's living room, which is like a home studio. So we did a lot of our work there too, which is was nice. But he's very well, adjusted to the environment at Ivy Hall, so much so that his home studio is almost an extension of the studio that we worked out of.
Right.
Pretty much the same board, the same monitors, the same computer system, everything, all the plugins were the
Compatible
same.
apps and things.
Exactly. It all was compatible, so it felt like we were working out of Ivy Hall pretty much the whole time, which was nice.
Right. 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 And your producer is Drew Long. Is that correct?
Y- Yes,
Correct.
that's him.
What does he bring to the table besides the studio?
A guru vibe, I would say, like a very, like he's a very eccentric person and energetic and understanding, empathetic. Is
Empathetic.
that the word?
There you go.
Empathetic?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry.
You got it.
He's a he's a very he's a very interesting guy, like almost like a Rick Rubin type of producer,
Oh,
which
okay.
is added to the experience in a really great way,
Like,
And
yeah. To add, music is like every aspect of music, whether it be the song or the gear or the recording gear or whatever it is, it's like another language to him. Like he knows every part of this like business and recording music in as a language,
yeah.
and he's just very well thought, and he knows so much. He's just a fountain of information. So it was really great to work with him.
well, that's cool. Cool. So
Yeah.
the album starts out with a tune called "Bolt Cutter Eyes." Why is that
Yes.
front and center there?
Stuck in a dream, she's running wild. Bolt cut her eyes, had them since she was a child. Now nothing's changed, she'll ride it off like a Mustang. One day, he was an actor, acted his age. Stuck in the dance at 17 and losing the game. They put on patience, like a jacket in the rain, waiting for the sun to break.
I think it sets the tone, energy wise for the record, and it kind of just it's like the warm up song in a way. It really gets the vibes going and gets your brain moving a little bit before the rest of the record kicks in, and we felt like it was just the perfect opening statement in a way, energy wise.
And as far as
Yeah.
like deciding what the running tracking listing is and all that, is that a major process among the band and everyone, or is it fairly easy to come through?
I think it's definitely a major thing. Like it's a big part of like a big decision that we have to make together, but um, it wasn't that hard. We really had like an idea. Pretty much right when we finished everything up, we were like, this is what feels right.
All
You
right.
know
But
what
it
you
Yeah,
just
we
makes
start with,
sense
and
to
you know
us.
where you want to end with. So
Yeah.
we
gotta figure.
played we played a lot of these songs live too. So like the track listing was based off of, for the most part, like our live show.
Right.
Yeah.
So like starting with Bolt Color Eyes is we've been doing that for however long, and
Yep.
I think it was kind of made it a lot easier for us.
Right. And I've been reading some of the reviews because the album has been out for about a week now, right? So you got a few write-ups and stuff, and people
Nice.
are trying to find a message or something that ties everything together. And some have talked about the lyrics address the confusion in the state of affairs in the U.S.
Hmm.
Brady, since you probably wrote most of those lyrics, is there anything to that?
Yeah, I think especially there's a song called Babylon that I actually wrote during COVID, but there's a lot of similarities to the state of the country and how it is now versus then.
They'll put it in the paper. Yeah, read all about it. 10 reasons to hate your neighbor. We're walking lines that we can't see. Yeah, then our story about two kids in a tragedy.
There's a lot of people that think they have the answers for everything, or there's a lot of people that are very loud with how they think things should be ran, and it comes on both sides, you know. It's like it's hard to figure out what really the answer is, you know. There's a lot of confusion. Um, and I think to cut through the noise, there's like a choice that you have to make as a person every day to either be a part of the darkness and like you can be a part of the noise and scream about how you feel about things and tell people they're wrong and get angry and get mean, or you can be the opposite of that and be more accepting and and live life with joy and light and, understanding and camaraderie and that sort of stuff. Whatever you choose spreads to people, it
Right.
really does. And there's a lot about today where you kind of feel like there's so much wrong and there's so much that you could potentially do, um, that it feels overwhelming at times. But there's a really good quote, I think it's from Sun Tzu. Um, it's tend to the part of the garden that you can reach, which I always think is a very profound thing to think about, especially in times like this. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things going around in the world, but the most important thing is just the people around you and how you can affect them every day. Are you going to be a dark person that's angry with the world? Or are you going to be a light person that's bringing joy to everyone around you in spite of it all, you know? And I think a lot of the songs in the record kind of play into that in a nice way.
Yeah, very nice, very
Yeah.
nice. Now you got a few guests on the record. Red
Yeah.
Tape, I think, there's a co-write with Madi Diaz. How did that happen?
Tell me that I really don't want it. Tell me that it's gonna get away. I'm in love with the red tape. I don't wanna keep it like a secret. Happen in front of my face. I'm in love with the red tape. You can give it to me straight. Give it to me straight.
It happened through our manager, I guess, like just, management, talking to management, I
Right.
guess. And he vibed with the music so far with what we've been making. And just a random day in the spring, I think of last year, we wrote it together, or the year before that. And it was awesome. She is a sweetheart. She's one of the nicest people I've ever met, and just so good at writing songs, just so
Right.
good at writing songs and fitting the vibe. And,
Such a
you know,
badass too, like
yeah.
just the epitome of like rock star songwriter, rock star
Yeah.
artist.
She had just gotten off the road with Harry Styles. She had
Oh,
spent a
geez.
ton of time with him. Yeah. So, and we had just gotten off the road of just like random little tiny gigs that we
Right.
were playing, and like we were like, yeah, we're both road dogs, right? Right,
Yeah,
Maddie?
right.
Like
I'm sure you had the
we're
exact same experiences.
exactly. Even though it wasn't at all. She was touring around Europe, and like we just got back from Ohio,
Yep, there
but
you
yeah.
go.
But we definitely had a lot in common in some ways in that world. It's at a certain point, it's all the same. You're gone and you're away from people that you love and from your dog. And
Yep,
the song that we wrote is kind of around the anxiety that brings a little bit.
right. And then the
Yeah,
other collaboration is Silver Tongue with SUSTO. So how did that happen?
yeah,
Hey, on the bright side, nothing matters anyway. There are silver tongue messiahs just trying to save the day. I've seen it all go down.
Another connection through our management, our manager Jared is also Susto's manager. So we had that set up not long after we met with Maddie and wrote a song, and we were just in this room with no windows, like in the middle of an apartment building, and we were there for like 4 hours just talking pretty much. And 4 hours later, we finally got a chorus of a song and a verse, because we just like hanging out. Like he's a
Right,
great
right.
hang. He's just a sweet guy. He's just genuinely nice and kind. And we had the same sort of vision about writing something that has to do with like society, but maybe in like more of like a palpable way or like a easier to understand way. So we wrote a song that was like a little bit about like, screw everyone's opinions about like whether things matter. If like we're just here and then we're not and nothing matters. Like everything matters.
Right.
Whatever you choose matters. And that was just like after 4 hours, we finally got something, and it was so good. And then we finally got back with him like a few months later to finish the song too. So
Nice. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So now the record's out. Do you have a game plan? Do you sit there and plot out and you say you have a manager, so that hopefully is
yeah,
part of the deal, but
right,
somebody to do
yeah,
some of that work. But
yeah.
what are your plans going forward?
Yeah, so our plans are we're gonna be hitting the road. We got some shows just kind of getting buttoned up right now. Hitting the road in some markets, and just promoting the record as much as we can online.
Yeah.
As much as it hurts coming out of my mouth, but TikTok is an important thing that we have to
I'm
really
addicted
focus
to it.
on.
I sit there and
Yeah, so it's part of it.
They
but
got
I
us
think we're
all.
Yeah, they got us all. We just have to let the music do what it's going to do and reach the right people in the right moments
right. Yeah.
and hit the road. That's the biggest thing.
If you enjoyed this episode of the 13th Floor's Music Talk series, please be sure to subscribe to the website or to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram and wherever you find your podcasts. There's a whole lot more to discover.